This is a message for the leadership of YouTube. Frankly, I probably could have called you privately, but I think it's better to just talk about this in the open on this particular issue. My understanding is in the last 24 hours, you locked the accounts and shut down the accounts of two guys, Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones. They have big followings on the American right. I think it's better if you just unlock those accounts and let the guys be heard. And I say this not because I'm some particular fan or vice versa. At least one of them, Nick, is probably not a particularly big fan of mine. No more than Jimmy Kimmel is, by the way, for very different reasons. That's beside the point. It doesn't matter. The reason I'm asking you to do it is that censorship isn't good for America. It's antithetical to our culture. And we're the country on God's green earth where we're able to talk to each other in the open. And I want to credit YouTube and Google and your parent company and so much of your competitors in Silicon Valley for creating the first instance of the free and open internet with search engines. It's a beautiful thing for democratizing speech. But I think we take a step in the wrong direction when we choke those same technologies that allow us to access open debate and open ideas. It breeds discontent. It breeds frustration. It actually breeds mistrust. If you tell people they can't speak, that's when they scream. And if you tell people they can't scream, that's when they tear things down. So I think free speech is a precondition for peace. It's a precondition for the scientific method. It's a precondition for our shared unity, our shared national identity as Americans. Now, I can understand why you might think that certain types of speech or certain things that are said that are hurtful to other people or that may spread misinformation or may they count as violent or dangerous threats shouldn't be allowed on your platform. I personally take a broad view of what type of speech is an expression of an opinion that's protected, but that's a separate discussion about whether somebody says a particular thing that you think doesn't belong on your platform. That's one category of speech moderation. There's a different category of saying that you may demonetize certain people. You're not going to pay them, that even if they're able to speak on your platform, it's not necessarily their right to be paid for doing so or putting advertisers next to their name. That's a separate discussion. Personally, I don't like any of those forms of speech suppression as a general matter, but at least those are discussions that reasonable minds can have. There's a whole separate third category of censorship, though, that I think is particularly harmful, which is the idea that just because of who you are, your name and who you are, you don't get to express any idea, whether it's misinformation, hateful speech, whether it's dangerous or whatever you deem it to be. Irrespective of that, you're not making that judgment. Just based on who you are, you don't get to speak. I think that breeds mistrust. I don't think that's good for our country. There's legal arguments to be had. I've made legal arguments elsewhere in my books, in Wall Street Journal pieces, and there are legal arguments that you could construct that say that if a tech company is protected by Section 230, a government-created shield of immunity, that if a tech company is responding, even indirectly, to the threats of government officials, maybe that is actually even a legal First Amendment violation. That's not even what I'm talking about right now. What I'm talking about is not a legal point, it's just a cultural point. It's the question of whether this is good or bad for America. And I think we live in a moment right now where when we tell people, whether it's the government or even a powerful company, when you tell people that because of who you are, you deserve not to be heard, I think that actually divides us. Even if it's done with the best of intentions of thinking it brings most of the rest of the country together, in the long run, it actually throws kerosene on the very flame you were trying to quash. And so that's my ask to you. I'm not trying to do this in some type of faux indignation, angry way that escalates some political fight. That's not the goal. I actually think that it's often possible to get to the right answer through just reasonable, open dialogue. That's what I hope this is. I hope you're able to reconsider a decision that you made that may have been a wrong decision. And I think we need more space as a country when people do make a wrong decision to be able to be given an off-ramp, to be able to say that, you know what, after thinking about it, yeah, we agree, we're persuaded that all else equal, even though we intended well, we ought to let people speak and be heard. That's what I hope happens here. And so my ask is, and again, speaking as a guy who, from Jimmy Kimmel to Nick Fuentes, probably don't like me very much, I don't care. That doesn't matter. It's not what this is about. It's not even about the content. It's about the principle. I'd ask you to restore the accounts of those guys, and believe me, it will be a down payment on beginning to reunite this country, a project on which we have yet a very long way to go. Thanks a lot for considering.